The Olympics are trying to gaslight the entire world. They want to erase this dance from existence. You imagined it.
We recently did a video and it touched on how the woke Olympics is trying to change the world's views when it comes to not only gender, but religion. We talked about how the Olympics is literally an arm of the government and how it should not be trusted in many different ways. Now, regardless of whether you agree with that video and the points that it brings out, there is one thing that you can't deny at this point in time. The Olympics is trying to sneakily and quietly rewrite history. The woke politicians and bigwigs behind the Olympics are trying to literally erase the Raygun performance from our minds and from history altogether. Just try to find her performance. Go ahead, you won't. Not only have they deleted it from the official Olympic YouTube pages, but they're also constantly striking down people's personal accounts on YouTube and websites if they dare to use any of the footage from the Olympics whatsoever. That goes for both video and photo. This is a huge problem. In our other video, we talked about the agendas that the Olympics have been pushing. One of the reasons why the Olympics has this agenda is because it is directly tied in with the governments that run the world. A large majority of the power behind this governmental system comes from woke liberals looking to control the narrative. Control your thoughts, control your family's thoughts, control your literal ideas behind gender.
Adjusting the pants. What was she in fact adjusting?
And talking about lefties losing it, it doesn't get more absurd than the weapon-grade gaslighting we're witnessing at the moment, where we are told to accept that Olympians who have failed gender eligibility tests should be allowed to beat up women in the boxing ring at the Paris Games. And challenging this lunacy makes you a bigot. We should disregard the evidence before our eyes and those pesky XY chromosomes. We're supposed to pretend that disorders of sex development give males a free pass to compete in women's events. On what planet is that fair to the female competitors?
Now, I'm not saying that you have to subscribe to any particular political party, but what I am saying is that you can't deny the things that are happening right now. I can think about some other topics that the government has recently been trying to erase from history.
Can you?
Anyway, this is not a conspiracy channel, so back to the point, you cannot find the original video of Raygun doing her performance anywhere.
So I thought maybe I could sit down as an Australian, share the Australian point of view, perhaps give a little bit of insider knowledge into the Australian mind. It's impossible, actually. Try to find it. Look it up. Try to find the full routine on the internet. There's like some news coverage. They've got a couple of clips of Raygun hopping around a little bit or something, busting out one of these. I don't know if you know, but that's just how we greet each other in Australia. But if you want to watch the full routine, you cannot find it because the Olympics are coming for you and they're not mucking around. I just wanted to have a fun little reaction video, but I fear for my livelihood because apparently it's not just Australia that's a little bit embarrassed by these funny, goofy dance moves. It's the Olympics themselves. They want to erase this dance from existence. It didn't happen, all right? You imagined it. The Olympics are trying to gaslight the entire world into believing that this goofy performance just simply never happened. In fact, better yet, breakdancing in the Olympics. Apparently that's being ditched. That's not even coming back. Raygun's Olympic breakdancing video is getting erased from the internet. Here's why. Viral footage of Raygun, the Australian Olympic breakdancer, is disappearing online.
A huge problem that comes out of this is the fact that not only did Raygun steal the spotlight when it came to the Olympic performances, but she was also battling against some very talented people in those performances, and those people are being erased. If you need to get up to date on the Raygun situation because you don't know about all the different nuances in it, you can check out another video that we just recently put out that will talk you through the entire Raygun debacle from beginning to end. I encourage you all to please check out this comment that one of our fantastic subscribers left on our last video. I truly believe it will help convey the entire idea of what's going on in a very clear and concise manner. So anyway, not only is this governmental arm trying to eradicate this performance from our minds and from history, but it is also doing a disservice to the athletes who worked their butts off to try to get to the Olympics in the first place. The men and women who went there to give it their all. This is a disgrace. The Olympics and the governmental arm that runs them should be disgraced. People are allowed to have a voice. People have a right to their opinion. People should, in fact, be acknowledging actual reality. And to have reality shut down simply because it doesn't align with the political elite's idea of what history needs to be is disgusting. The Olympics should be boycotted. Governments should be scrutinized. We want all of the participants in the Olympics to be recognized for the work that they put in. We want them to have their time in the spotlight. We want their countries to be seen and recognized for their hard work. And most of all, we want the world to remember the harsh reality of Raygun's performance, regardless of how bad it was, regardless of the fact that she stood behind it, regardless of the fact that others are trying to make her seem like a hero.
I'm as ready to applaud someone having a go as the next person, but that doesn't mean that every child must win a prize. But anyone who says that she's a pretty ordinary performer, well, those criticisms have been called out as misogyny. Now, come on, if we want to compete, female or male even, you've got to accept the umpire's decision and the views of those who watch what you do. Former Socceroo Craig Foster has hit out at it and said that anyone who's criticising Gunn is un-Australian. Now, give me a break. Any way you cut it, her performances were crap. How on earth did she even qualify? But if you listen to the Prime Minister, she's a role model, he says, who should be praised for having a crack. Now, come on. I thought the whole point of the Olympics was to celebrate competition, not mere participation. And what a cheap shot to claim justifiable criticism isn't allowed because Gunn's a woman. I mean, that's embarrassing to all the magnificent other female athletes who have excelled.
What has occurred on social media with trolls and keyboard warriors and taking those comments and giving them airtime has been really disappointing. If you don't know Rachel's story, in 2008, she was locked in a room crying, being involved in a male-dominated sport as the only woman, and it took great courage for her to continue on and fight for her opportunity to participate in a sport that she loved, and that got her to winning the Olympic qualifying event to be here in Paris. She is the best breakdancer female that we have for Australia. Now, you look at the history of what we have had as women athletes has faced in terms of criticism, belittlement, judgment, criticism, and simple comments like they shouldn't be there. And Raygun is an absolutely loved member of this Olympic team. She is the best breakdancer female that we have for Australia.
What a waste of taxpayers' money.
She's got tickets on herself. She genuinely thinks that she is all there, that she's a great breakdancer.
A lot of the bureaucracy has embarrassed itself in the past week because we've had multiple very high-profile former athletes who are now part of that bureaucracy, including Kieran Perkins, Anna Mears, coming out and defending this absolutely shambolic breakdancer Raygun. If they weren't so in that bubble, they would recognise what has happened and recognise defending that, trying to bully Australians into remaining silent and not laughing at that. They would see how absurd that is.
Well, it's
but
also
they
absurd.
didn't.
You had Peter Fitzsimons writing a defence saying,
everything
obviously
he says
that's
is absurd.
But it's doubly absurd for that bloke because he's an ex-rugby player and he's saying excellence doesn't matter,
I'm sorry, guys.
Australia prides itself on its elite sports people. We want the best of the best.
We care about participation. We care about having a go. But Olympic level isn't about
we want to be the
participation.
best.
You send your best to the Olympics.
James.
It's all about
this is not a progressive preschool sports day. We're not giving away participation trophies and everybody, here you go, here's your medal, everybody gets a prize. But it's really funny, Rowan, I'm so glad you mentioned Peter Fitzsimons and his stirring defense of Raygun and this whole sort of elite academic class, the same people who were there for The Voice. It just reminds me of what George Orwell said. We're talking about something silly, breakdancing, but we see this throughout politics. There's this whole group of people who take Orwell's injunction that the first order of the party was not to believe the evidence before your own eyes. That's exactly what we are being told to do with Raygun, as we were told to do with The Voice, as we've been told to do with so many other things.
Absolutely. And I would just add the point, and I do feel sorry for the brilliant athletes, the brilliant Australian athletes, a lot of that Raygun stuff took the deserved emphasis where the rest of the world should have been going, my God, those Australians are incredible. Did you see what they did in the pool? Did you see what those Australians did? How
the rest
great
of
they
the
were?
world.
The rest of the world was going, ha, 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 Australia, ha, ha, breakdancing. I mean, seriously. And the bureaucrats responsible for that decision and the bureaucrats who defended that decision, as Rita says, seriously don't belong.
They are literally taking away women's rights and women's hard work by stating that just because Raygun is a woman, she should be treated differently. Absolutely sickening. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that we need to remember her performance so that we can bash her for the rest of her life. No. What I'm saying is that we have a right to remember accurate history, and that right is currently being taken from us. Don't let it happen. Keep screen recording, keep sharing, keep talking about it, and make sure to like this video to force it to be shared with others. Share it with your close friends and family so that they are aware of what's going on. But don't only talk about Raygun. Don't only talk about the history that they are trying to erase before our eyes, also talk about the other competitors who are involved as well. Team USA's B-Girl Logistics, Francis Sissy, and Lithuania's Nika are only 3 examples of people who need to have their performances remembered. They worked hard to get to that stage. They were proud to represent their countries. And they all battled against Raygun, who stole the spotlight directly from them. Rather than having the talent at the Olympics showcase this year, it is the literal disgrace of Raygun's performance that is going to be remembered. And in the meantime, the Olympics will continue to erase the footage off the internet so that the world will eventually forget that too. What do you think about this? Am I crazy? Let me know in the comments. Please like and subscribe if you appreciate this content. Thank you for your support, and see you at the next video.